Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Tuesday, 3 February. Wow, year's already going fast. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Musk's owned SpaceX has acquired xAI, the Syrian army has entered the Kurdish-held town of al-Hassakeh, and the US and India reach a trade deal. So firstly, rocket venture SpaceX is acquiring artificial intelligence company xAI, who are both owned by Elon Musk. This was announced on Monday. SpaceX announced the deal, which is meant to support the efforts by Elon Musk, the world's richest man, to dominate both the rocket and AI markets. A few of the most well-known products owned by Musk will play a part in the deal, including AI chat by Grok, satellite company Starlink, and his social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter. In a statement announcing the deal, Musk said his goal was to create the most ambitious, vertically integrated innovation engine on and off the Earth. Musk has previously spoken about his aspirations for developing technology to allow data centers to operate in space, and the merger could be a step to make such developing technology easier, with solar power being the source of energy. So what? While Musk is obviously trying to spin this in a positive light, I think it's quite possible that this is due to the current backlash around xAI and Grok's chatbots efforts on X. I'm sure everybody has seen it. Grok was putting females into bikinis when asked and doing other pretty ludicrous shit on request all over Twitter. Well, X. So it's quite possible that this is a way of merging these companies and ensuring that their prices cannot be affected through bad news. Like if they all become one publicly traded company, then bad press for Grok is unlikely to significantly affect the share price, because it's also backed by a company like SpaceX, which has large government contracts that are probably going to be unheard by this sort of negative media. That's kind of just my take on it, but yeah, he's a smart man. He knows what he's doing in business, and it's unlikely he did this, for the betterment of humanity. And next, following a ceasefire deal between the Syrian central government and the Kurdish-led forces, the Syrian army has entered the city of al-Hassakeh on Monday. Hassakeh was one of the major Syrian cities as held by the SDF, or the group's predecessors, since early on in the country's decade-long civil war. The arrival of military forces under the command of the government in Damascus following the signing of an agreement between the two sides that brought an end to weeks of fighting. So what? This is pretty sad for me personally to see. I was a big backer of the SDF and the Kurdish efforts against the Islamic State, and to see them in the nicest way possible to be kind of sold out and left to their own devices in the face of the advancing Syrian government was pretty shit. I don't know how else to put it. I was pretty gutted and pretty disappointed. Hence why I made the YouTube video over the weekend, wanting to highlight what had happened, how it had all played out, and what it kind of means. In my opinion, the biggest kind of second and third order effect here is US credibility. If you are an aspiring, rebel group or just any kind of partner for US forces, and you're seeing this play out, then you've got to think what happens when the political tide turns against you, and will the US still be there? Countries like South Korea, Japan, European allies, these relationships are built on mutual trust, and it's being eroded. So it's going to have some significant effects, I feel, not only directly for the Kurds, but for other partners worldwide. And yeah, it's kind of scary because the US hegemony has ensured peace for a significant period of time. Like up until recently, this has been the most peaceful time in human history. While it doesn't feel like it because of the news, that's statistically the facts. So, yeah, it's kind of shit in my opinion. But I also see the other side of the coin strategically from the US point of view. Backing the Syrian government is a way of pushing out Iranian influence in the region, and it gives them one group to deal with in the country. Makes sense. I kind of get it. And it works. So, that is just the way it is. But doesn't mean it isn't shit. And lastly, US President Donald Trump has reached a trade deal with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's to slash US tariffs on goods coming out of India to 18% from 50%. The announcement comes less than a week after the Indian and European officials announced a landmark deal that capped nearly 2 decades of on-off trade talks. Trump said this morning in the call that he agreed to stop buying Russian oil and to buy much more oil from the United States and potentially Venezuela, Trump wrote on Truth Social. He added that Modi's request immediately agreed to the trade deal that would see lowering of tariffs on Indian goods. Additionally, Trump said Modi committed to buying more than $500 billion worth of American goods in energy, technology, and agriculture and coal products. Okay, so what? The big thing to me is this, is the stopping of buying of Russian oil. I will believe it when I see it, because India has been getting a very good deal since the start of this war. Just as a bit of background, when everyone started sanctioning Russia, India stepped in and started buying Russian oil at a significantly reduced rate. They then resold this oil to other countries, including Western countries, at a significant markup, basically just making money from nothing. So it's been a good and lucrative business for them. So this agreement to stop buying Russian oil is significant, and it could have significant effects on the Russian war effort, which I love. I think this is a great deal. If India, stick to their word and stop buying Russian oil, smashed it. Really happy. That's great. Not much else to say. Well done, Trump here. You've absolutely outdone yourself. I didn't think India would stop buying Russian oil without some significant threats, but possibly Trump offered him cheaper Venezuelan oil. That could have been a good way to get around it. So, I don't know. This could be well played out and could have significant effects on the Russian economy, which, in turn hurts their war effort, which huge fan of. But yeah, anyway, that's been the Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.